status quo, high chances that we'll have a repeat of what has been happening the previous years. And that is where organizations like Kikao come in, because our main mandate is civic engagement and civic education. We have to keep pushing this information and talk to people and educate them about their rights and what they are capable of achieving if we unite together as citizens of this country. And it's not something that we just want to be talking about online. We want to go physically to localities and kikaos and chamas, barazas, and all, anywhere people sit together and have conversations, so that by the time we are heading towards the next general election, at least we have influenced people to try and think towards do the person I'm electing, do they deserve to be in this position, and looking at the history of the people and not just what they've achieved prior to that, and not just what they claim that they are going to give the people, and not looking at this one is my tribe,
but
this one is...
who's making this process difficult? Is it the parties who are not recruiting talent and smart Kenyans who can actually work for the on the interests of Kenyans? Is it the parties who are letting us down? Should we just start our own party as young Kenyans? What's going on? Because obviously these parties recruit people, then they go through the primary process. So how are we going to approach this thing practically?
And that's why I keep referring to, not when I say Ruto must go, it's not just Ruto as an individual. It is the political class, because we saw even what happened with Baba. Some people, I did not, like I said, these are things I almost predicted that they are going to happen. In my mind, there are a lot of people who are let down by Baba. But in my mind, it was this is who he has always been, So we are fighting against the political class. It is us citizens against the political class. And the reasons why things are the way they are is because there are systems. Even me as an outsider, I don't understand exactly what happens within the political systems, because you find that the process of being even put up, having your name in the ballot is so expensive because of the number of people you have to bribe, and the number of people who have to you have to promise them, if you get this seat, this is what you're going to do for them. So you'll find a few individuals who actually start out because they are really genuinely concerned about bringing change in their country, but it's like a drop in an ocean, and by the time they go in, they are swallowed in by the systems. And remember, these investments that you made, you have to somehow recoup, and that's how the vicious cycle of corruption keeps happening time and time again.
But I'm thinking about how yourself and a couple of other Kenyan youths have been termed as the face of this revolution. Yourself, the likes of Hanifa, Kasmuel, and it has
now
been
Morara.
And now Morara. It has been said that one of the biggest disadvantages to the cause is the fact that during then and now, the youth have termed themselves as one leaderless, partyless, and more so faceless. But now, looking at the political systems in the country, we as the youth will lack representation as a result of these slogans. Do you think there is need for, say, youth, Gen Zs, to actually now have an alliance and form a real and solid political party moving forward?
Yeah, for sure, because the protests and the whatever has been termed as the Gen Z uprising, it was very organic. But organic engagement can only hold for so long. After that, it is necessary to come up with structures, because we are calling for accountability. But if you don't have even structures within yourself to cater for such things, it becomes an issue. You've mentioned Hanifa. She did such a good job coordinating payment of hospital bills and morgue bills and catering for burials of the people who lost their lives. But there has been a lot of questions regarding how the money was spent. Personally, I have seen her on the ground and engaging and doing this work. So, and we have seen that the work has been done.
She was even rewarded by Kenyans.
Yes.
Yeah, even a lot of Kenyans believe that she actually genuinely spent the money in a good manner. But the fact that we did not have proper structures to follow up with making sure that she's held accountable for every shingle spilling, it leaves that question mark. So had we been much better organized prior to that, I think there will be less question regarding how the money was spent. And also we see individuals like Kasmuel and Morara. It's a lot of their own effort, rallying people around them to help, to support what they are doing. But then if one person is working by themselves and then you have threats towards your life, threats towards your family, you don't really have proper systems to ensure your security and your safety. In fact, a lot of people have stopped engaging with continuing with the message of Ruto must go, because they're like, I received this call and I received this message. So as an individual, what am I capable of achieving?
Did you receive any threats?
Yes, I have. And in fact, there was a time I had to spend 2 days away from home. I left my phone somewhere and I went into hiding at what I considered a safe location, because we had been given information that there's a list of people that has been given out and you're on that list. So make sure you stay safe and take care of yourself.
And do you feel safe now?
Yeah.
By the time I was actually returning home from hiding, I was like, it's buying into the fear, which is a tactic they're also using to deter us. So it's like, if, to be honest, as I sit here, if I die, I die.
Really?
I mean, at the end of the day, we all die.
That's the spirit I love about you young guys.
Politicians themselves.
Nothing to lose.
Yo, let me ask you something. Do you consider you a leader of this whole movement, this revolutionary phase? Do you feel like you have a responsibility to, be at the forefront of these conversations, these civil engagements? Do you consider yourself even as a mentor, for example, for young Kenyans who want to get into the political space?
Mentor is a strong word, but I feel with the elevation that I've received, I have responsibility to keep talking about. Actually, no. The question I asked myself was, even if that moment had not happened and my life had just continued as usual, what would I still be doing? So I'm doing what I still would be doing, but now I have a better platform, so I'm making use of
So you were in this conversation even before Maandamano?
Yes. Team Courage. Mimi, I've been a follower of Boniface Mwangi ever since I can remember the time when Kibaki was being sworn in Kule and he stood up in the rallies. It's in fact, him specifically is one of the reasons why I'm like, if I die, I die. And people say he's a professional activist, like that is what he does for a living. But how he does things and the way he has been consistent at it, and he's always calling out for justice and for reforms and pushing towards change in our country. A lot of information regarding what is happening within the political class I initially got from him. So it is sorry, I've lost.
Take your time, girl. Take your time. Let me just say one thing, by the way, as you're composing your thoughts, guys. If you're just joining us, we have the very, very amazing lady known as Shakira Wafula. She's the vice chair of Kikao. We're going to be talking about Kikao in just a bit. And today we're talking about exploring the complexities of youth activism in the 254. Why are we angry? The youth revolt rather. 10?
Yes. I'm now thinking about, in your eyes, moving forward, what is the best possible scenario?
The best possible
Despite
scenario.
Ruto going.
That's a very good question.
Oh my God.
See, we have broad-based.
Yeah.
The best possible scenario is that we as Kenyans, and not just the youth, yes, the youth form the majority, but everyone in the country to continue engaging with what is happening within our country. A lot of us are apolitical, and we behave in the manner that if something does not directly affect me, then I'm not willing to give it attention. So long as I wake up, go do my work, go do my hustle, my kids go to school, and I go to sleep and I'm safe. For a lot of Kenyans, that is enough. But you don't realize that your silence is what is pushing the cost of living to go higher. When you get sick and you go to hospital, there are no doctors, and the few nurses that are there, they don't even have the proper medication, the proper equipment to offer you quality service. Barabarani, a lot of roads they limit access towards places, the education that kids are receiving in our schools. And then we have, especially in the informal settlements, people disappear day in, day out without a lot of questions being raised. The police keep killing people, abducting people, and not much is given to the parents and the relatives in terms of accountability. So even if it does not directly or immediately affect your day to day, at the end of the day, somehow it affects you. And being quiet when there's injustice around you means eventually it's going to get to you, and then when it gets to you, you're going to cry, oh, serikali saidia.
Yeah, it's interesting. Somebody said there's nothing as bad as a happy slave.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
Let me ask you, when I look at all these things happening, I'm not saying I'm old, but I've been around, and I'm an ardent reader. But when I look at things that are happening, especially in our country, some of the lessons that I've learned from the past are, for example, there's always people who take advantage of these phases. They take advantage of the emotion in the country, especially when there's a lot of discontent. And then they come out and they say, we're the champions of change. Believe in us.
We've been fighting for this.
We've been out here. Record. We've seen these guys, and I'm not going to mention any names.
Yeah.
Well, what usually happens after that, the more things change, the more they stay the same. These guys end up even becoming worse than the leaders we've ever had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These are lessons of history. How sure are we that all these people that we've seen coming up, people who have been in your position, your similar position, getting out there, trashing politicians in public platforms, mobilizing it. How should Kenyans trust them? Why should we keep on giving these guys? I mean, what have they done? Unatupate tu mouth thing, you just, taking advantage of our emotions. How should we know that these are the people who wenyewe will lead this conversation when it comes to change? Because right now we're seeing a lot of young Kenyans just coming up out of nowhere and saying, we know what's happening. We understand governance better than the president. What's going on?
The knowledge is there. And the internet allows somebody to access whatever information they are seeking, and if they want to focus in a specific subject, they are able to do that. So for me, if we continue with civic engagement and education and capacity building, because like you said, a lot of young people are coming up, but I personally am not so sure about the nitty. If I said today that I want to become the next governor of Nairobi, I'm not sure about the nitty-gritties of the processes to get me to that to the ballot paper. But with capacity building, I'm able to learn what is required of a governor and what are the processes that are needed to get me into that position. And then if we have all this youth getting engaged in such a manner and having the opportunities to see how they can offer their services towards the country, by the time we get to the next general election, we push for an overhaul of the government, because like I said, we've had a lot of people coming up even in previous elections, but once they go in, it's like a drop in the ocean.
Correct.
But if it was the term being used is draining the swamp, if it was possible, we just completely have a whole new group of people. It is not people that have a track record, because it's young people, but their merit and how they've been engaging with the public and how they've engaged with the civic education and learning all these processes gives people hope that
So you
if we
feel
do an overhaul,
when you say an overhaul, you mean the older generation.
yes.
Isn't that ageist? Because I've never seen.
ageist, yeah.
I mean, how are you going to build a society without including people who have experience? They have a better network. They have resources. How are we going to say? Because I believe in inclusivity.
Not specifically the older generation, because even amongst the older generation, there are people who are people who have stood to be people of integrity, and they have the capacity to serve the nation, but they haven't been offered that opportunity.
Correct.
So it's not targeting. Majority are young people, but it's not like we are shutting out.
That's what it sounds like.
No. Overhaul, draining the swamp, the existing leadership.
Okay.
It just happens that the existing leadership, majority of them are old people, but there are older people.
You'll be surprised.
They
say this is the youngest parliament in our history.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
I'm hearing that for the first
Did you know that? Did you know that, Ten?
Yeah, it is indeed the youngest.
And apparently
parliament.
millennials, some of the millennial MPs we've seen in there are the biggest letdowns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So this thing is not even an age thing. But let me ask you, moving forward, because I know you want to jump in there.
Yeah.
Is it a good strategy for the president to engage with the Gen Z? He's saying my young Kenyans. My auntie usually says, Kevin, it's not Gen Z, it's Gen Zote.
John Zote, I agree.
So is it a good strategy for the president to engage with Gen Zs in a peaceful sort of dialogue? So that they can co-create new ideas? Is that a better strategy as opposed to getting out there and trashing the president? And when you look at all these town hall meetings, should we embrace this sort of meetings where we say, okay, Mr. President, this is how we look at it? You know what I mean? You're a human anyway. Man is to error. It's not like we're going to have a perfect president, So isn't it a better strategy where we can sit down and co-create, come up with new ideas as opposed to trashing him? And even if he's not that, I mean, that's how I look at it, bro. So, I'm not speaking for Spice or whatever. This is how I look at it.
I was actually cringing when you were saying.
Yeah, clearly.
Hey.
Man
You to be
is to
inclusive.
error because,
It's too much. It's too much error.
It's too much error. And then what conversations are we having with somebody who's shown you he has the capacity to kill you and show no remorse about killing you? And let's not, we can go back to even the time of post-election violence and all the atrocities they were implicated with at the ICC.
Allegedly,
yeah.
Yes, I'm saying we can go back, but a lot of us at that time, we were young. I was in primary school at that time, and we didn't really understand what was happening. But we were there on the streets. And the police were shooting live bullets at people, and people died. And we remember he was asked about the 12-year-old Kevin, and he was like, "That boy is alive." Come on, that's not somebody who is willing, is even willing to come down to the level of saying, "Okay, fine, let us engage peacefully with the Gen Z." And even if whatever miracle happens, and he says that, personally, I'm not willing to engage because you've
right.
already crossed a line, and now it's looking for justice towards these people who are injured.
So
and
you're not
people who are
pro-dialogue?
dying. No.
Okay.
We can't dialogue with somebody who's killing us.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about that very statement you're saying. Going back to elections, we do realize that the president was elected by the people of Kenya, and they put him in power, and he formed a government. So that means he does represent actually a number of people in the country.
Yeah.
When I listen to you speak, I realize that the movement and you guys have gotten to a point whereby the president cannot do any good by you guys. Do you think there is anything at this given point that the president can do to be right by Kenyans, because he does represent a number of Kenyans, a huge number at that? Do you think there is something that he can do to make it right by Kenyans, by you people as well? If so, what does he need to do?
Yeah. We don't have a functioning IEBC. And the only way for us to recall leaders, impeach the president, is if we have a functional IEBC. All right. So he came out on 9th of July with his team of people like Raila and Kalonzo, and they stood up kule KCC and they promised within 90 days we will have a reconstituted IEBC and yada yada. The promises that they usually
Yada yada.
They usually do. We are in September since July.
Man.
I mean, 90 days are already over. And granted, there are petitions in court against the selection panel itself, not even the commissioners, the selection panel. And personally, I signed a petition to Parliament because the selection panel does not include youth and people with disability. So if we don't even have proper representation in the selection panel, how sure are we that the commission itself is going to be people who are going to actually deliver free and fair elections? Personally, I believe we've never had free and fair elections in our country. Probably, I don't even know, never, because you remember even the case of Ruto being announced as president, the commission itself was divided into two, and the people who are saying they don't believe Ruto won the election, they had to go into hiding because their life was threatened. So if there's questions around even the electoral process itself, how sure are we that Ruto was actually a selection of the people?
Let me ask you, moving forward, we've seen Raila. The government is aggressively campaigning for him to get the AUC chairmanship. If at all Raila successfully, achieves this huge thing, him not being in local politics, is that a good thing for the Gen Z movement? And because some people usually say that Raila
took advantage.
Not even that. The way ODM especially goes about its affairs, and let me speak for ODM mostly. It's sort of like kind of has a very tribal approach to certain things, especially guys from Western.
It has been said.
You know what I mean, yeah?
Yes.
And even people use Rao's name to actually get certain positions.
Yes.
For as long as you can trash him, chances are high you're going to get elected in certain areas. In other areas, as long as you can sing praise and worship, you will get a position. So him stepping out successfully and up at your chairmanship position, right? Will this be a good thing? Will this be a step in the right direction to get out of this tribal, whatever, maneno, personality politics? Is that true?
Personally, I do not like to consider individuals like him because a lot of people hoped that he would be the voice of reason during the Gen Z uprising, but he rode on it and took advantage of it, and that's how we ended up with a broad-based government. To be honest, I don't have a lot of knowledge of what that chair, the position he's vying for.
No, I'm talking about him vacating local politics, though. Is it a good thing for the country?
That's why I'm saying I don't know what that position requires of him, and if it will actually result in him being exclusive, and not engaging with the current political climate within our country, because he might end up getting it and still have influence with calling shots and what is happening within our country. So I don't think I'm in a position to analyze how that would go.
I'm thinking about something. Given I've been listening to you, and you guys have very great ideas for how we need to move this country forward in the right direction. If you were approached today to work with government, would you? The current government.
Would you? It will depend in what capacity.
All right, guys, she's agreed. Yes, she's in it.
Right here on Space.
Straight to the point. Remember, she said she doesn't want to dialogue.
Exclusively.
And now she's saying that, it depends.
It depends.
For your ideas or in terms of how we move the country forward, because you guys have noticed a gap in whatever is happening matters.
Then bring the solutions.
You guys have the solutions. If you are approached today on whatever capacity, would you consider to work with government?
I say that's like a double-edged sword.
Be careful.
The reason why I said it depends on what capacity, it's because we have certain councils that are considered to be part of the government. But if you look at the work they are doing, it is actually helping people and moving the country towards a better direction. The other day, I was invited to National Council of NCPD Population and Development, and they were launching a work plan that works towards protecting young people, adolescents especially, against HIV/AIDS infection, against sexually transmitted diseases, and basically educating them about their reproductive health so that they can abstain from engaging in sexual activities before they are adults and preventing teen pregnancies. And this is a council that is a branch of the government, and me being approached to get involved with that is something I can't say I won't participate in because you're part of the government.
Yeah, but you're still going to be on a government payroll.
Yes. To be honest,
the same government.
It is a double-edged sword, and we do not, as young people of this country, and all of us who are pushing for change, we do not exist in a vacuum.
Yeah, and government is not an individual.
Yeah, and it's not an individual. It is a lot of entities and a lot of aspects. So it is. And that's why I keep saying I'm hoping for an overhaul in the next election, because that is how we are going to ensure like there's a grand change of how things are conducted in our country.
Okay, because I see we're running out of time. We're left with about 9 minutes to 9.
Yes.
Guys, in the next hour, DJ 10 is going to be on the ones and twos. Don't miss out. The after hours mix.
Yes.
Of course, right now we have the one and only Shakira Wafula. She is the vice chair of Kikao. And today we're talking about exploring the complexities of youth activism in the 254.
Complexities.
Yes. Now, as we wrap up, talk to us about, Kikao. What is this foundation about? Real quick, make it brief. What inspired you to, I guess, start this foundation? What do you hope to achieve with it?
Actually, the Kikao conversation is something that had happened prior to the Gen Z protests, and it was now finalizing and actually launching it. It was like speed, what's the word, like iliharakisha because of what is happening post the reject finance bill. Basically is what I've actually mentioned, civic engagement. We want to ensure that citizens of Kenya from all corners of the country, from all levels of classes and from different backgrounds, are properly informed and properly educated about what is happening within our country and what they can do to in contributing towards making the country a better place. When it comes to engagement, we want to call for young people to get their IDs and continue. When it comes to voter registration, they get their voters card and actually participate in upcoming elections. Looking at IEBC, like I said, I have a petition in Parliament. So trying to do what we can to ensure that we actually have free and fair election by the time we are holding our next
how's that going?
Election. It is, we've started right now. We have about 600 individuals who have registered with Kikao and from various parts of the country. And we are hoping in the next 3 years, so by the time we are participating in 2027 elections, we'll have at least 15 million Kenyans participating actively with Kikao.
I hope so too.
Like I said, it's not something that we need to talk about online. It's something that we need to talk about in our day-to-day life. We see.
You don't consider online to be our day-to-day lives?
For people like us, it seems. But I'm telling you, once you go to, especially the rural areas, guys have no idea what.
No, but I feel like it's improving. I mean, internet is penetrating.
It's way better right about
It's way better than it was even
definitely improving, and platforms like Kikao are what are going to help ensure that we are moving towards the direction of more Kenyans like actively getting involved in politics. There's also capacity building for any individual that expresses interest in, stepping up as a leader for the nation, so that they are prepared. By the time the election is happening, they'll be in a position to align with the proper political party, vie for and carry out their campaigns and vie for whatever seat.
So in case somebody wants to reach out to you, maybe support this amazing cause, how do they do this?
We do have a website. It's www.kikao.live. On the website, there's the option of donating. If you wish to contribute, there's the option of volunteering. As a profession, we are looking for everybody, tech guys, finance guys.
The older guys.
More experienced guys.
More experienced guys.
To give them the wisdom that they have acquired with their age. Yeah, for sure. We have the registration option of signing up as a member, and it is free. Right now we only have one office in Langata, but we've got super engagement from people of Dandora, and they're also about to set up an office in Dandora.
Good stuff.
So in the next 3 years, every locality in Kenya, if we have Kikao representation, and we continue with civic engagement.
Do you see yourself getting into elective politics?
Personally, as I sit right now, I'm not so sure I'm cut out for it, especially looking at how politics is right now. But
the way you're fearless, you can make a very good politician,
very expressive.
But thanks for coming through.
We'll see. But right now the focus is educating ourselves, because even right now, if I say I'm going to vie for a position, I don't even know what it takes, or like the specific responsibilities of whatever position that I would want to go for. So we're still educating ourselves. The most important thing is taking it one day at a time, because the way our country is moving, every day there's always a new development.
Correct.
And being resilient and trying to adjust and cope with whatever it is that we are presented with.
So that is Shakira Wafula. She's the vice chair of Kikao. We've been talking about the youth revolt in the 254. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so in the next hour, What the Facts is coming up.
I can't wait for them facts, Bana.
I know.
Playing the best music for hard-working Kenyans who are getting the job done. Spice up yourself.
Remote and hit maker. It's a confessional. Everywhere